society, people, and environment. So the question now is, what ways can you participate in sports? In Nigeria, default, if we think what is sports participation, they think my son runs, he jumps, there's so much to it. So you can participate in sports either as through active participation, through fan participation, and through work participation. Active participation is either fitness, or you want to become a professional athlete, or even an amateur athlete. As long as you're moving your body, you're active. Fan participation is you have this emotional attachment to sports that will make you pay for a £300 ticket to go and watch Manchester United. That's fan participation. You buy tickets, you buy stuff because of sports. Work participation are now the soldiers of the industry. They control the cash flow. They are the ones that move the money. They are the ones that get things done off the field. They are also on the field careers, but you get what I mean. Thank you. So why are they important? That's one question. Why should we increase them? These three categories contribute tremendously towards a country's GDP. They're constantly buying things. Constantly. Active participants are non-professionals. They can be non-professionals, like they are amateurs, they are non-remunerated, or simply active living for a variety of reasons. They are continuously buying apparels, medical services, they use facilities and other services. Professionals are the main attraction. They lure consumers towards sports. Some of us, when you go and buy your Manchester United jersey now, Nigerians say, give me Gallo. Specifically, give me Gallo. So we have fans. They're emotionally connected to the content provided. They purchase tickets, merchandise, subscribe to games, to watch games and entertainment. We also have workers. They are experts in numerous fields that support and control the commercial flow in the sports system. They could be coaches, financial advisors, physiotherapists, caterers. Come think of it, whatever you do, you have something to do in sports. Yep. Whatever you do. So next slide. So why are we increasing their participation? Why do we need more people in these three categories? One, they are going to help us meet. They are going to help us meet our sustainable development goals according to the UN. The UN has identified that sports is a major tool to meet 7 out of 17 of the SDGs, and sports is going to help with that. 2, they help create a healthier citizenry. Mr. Nkechi that gave me that one. That they engage our population. Whether we like it or not, Nigeria is heading towards 500 million people by 2070, imagine. And our population is mostly youth populated. So as long as we have traffic and a lot of people in that space, we will attract investments. People are always lured, investments is always drawn when there's traffic and there are quite an amount of people purchasing a product. So next slide. According to the National Universities Commission, we had above 42 million children enrolled in schools, primary to tertiary, in 2018. Imagine, did you know that in Nigeria, 63% of children in rural areas cannot read? 33.2 million children are out of school. 13.2 children are out of school. 50% participation of sports comes from education. 23 million and above Nigerians are unemployed, and 65% of our population are between 15 to 30 years. So please, let's take note of that. So where are we now? Prior to now, the commercial value of Nigerian of the Nigerian sports industry has been underestimated. The industry has been operating below standard and has not had the full effect it usually has in other countries. I'm sure if we start to discuss, people start saying, in Norway, in Finland, in US, in the UK, in this. Those people are tapping into sports, and we need to do that. So what is currently hindering us from enjoying this thing we call sports? Everybody, when you hear sports, we're always thinking down sports, all these little things, but sports is a lifestyle. Sports and education has not been integrated in Nigeria. We lack sports facilities. We don't have any clear progress pipeline. That's why most of our parents don't even encourage sports. Forget it. It's only in school, let it end there. But if they are sure that from primary school you're at a level, it's defined, you are getting into a team in secondary school, you're getting into a team in university, and you are rest assured that you are going pro, they will get you, your parents will back you. Then we have insufficient local sports content. We're not seeing our content on TV. That's why a lot of investors are not putting money in whatever we're doing. So we don't keep records. We don't. You just see somebody come today say, I was the fastest boy in my time. Based on so there's lack of sports development initiatives. So based on all this I've given, now we are in the digital era where media and access to goods and services have evolved in so many ways. How do we increase sports participation in the digital era? I don't have the answer, so we're going to have this discussion with our experts. So I need you to switch back. So I'm quickly going to switch to the speakers. So we have 3 speakers today coming from 3 different parts of the sports business ecosystem. And prior to this, before we started, Mr. Dele was even telling us that the digital platform has created a platform. The digital era has created a platform where all of us now play, and now players on it. So I'll just quickly let them introduce themselves, then we'll quickly start our questions. So briefly,
well, my name is Nkechi. I run Premium Sports Management Services. That's my day job. My night job is as the lead for the sports industry's thematic group of the Nigerian Economic Summit. And under the sports industry's thematic group, we've been pushing a sports industry reform and repositioning agenda, which has seen a few initiatives in the last 1 year, the chief of which was last week. The Honorable Minister inaugurated what he called the Sports Industry Working Group. He called it the most important group that he was going to inaugurate, because that is the group that's going to deliver a brand new sports industry policy that recognizes the effects of the digital era and accommodates initiatives and develops initiatives that play on that digital era. And secondly, they will also implement the elements of that policy over a period of time to deliver jobs, revenue, social impact, community development. So that's my night job. For my day job, I consult for a few companies.
Business.
That's have an introduction after that. I'll try and see if I can match it. My name is Dele Odugbemi. I am careers in advertising. So which will be the day one, if I try to match what Nkechi has done. And then my night one is also to support Nkechi in our policy direction in terms of sport. But my interest in this is more from the media point of view, which is when you aggregate an audience, a number of things come from that. There is content, that automatically comes out of it, so much activity. And where does content reside? It resides on the medium. So whether that's digital, we can have a platform for that. It could be. So I'm hoping that will be my contribution here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to run straight into our questions. So I'm going to start with Mr. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this question out.
Okay. After gentlemen.
Okay. Okay, so based on the current digital era we're in, is Nigeria where we are supposed to be? If not, where are we supposed to be?
Okay, so that's the question for someone. That's it. Yes.
So I think the answer would be no, but the no is more from not attitude. When there is a publication, an annual publication about where digital is, and when you look at year-on-year growth, it is tremendous. You find that most other media types have peaked. Television, you kind of know what the audience is. Radio, you know what the audience is. So it hasn't been limited in terms of success because of attitude. It's been more finance, cost of data, and so on, but also in part also infrastructure, where it's just been difficult for the telecom platforms that want to roll out the services to do it because we know our challenges about electricity and so on. So I think because of the statistics you showed earlier about how young the population is, the attitude is that you find that if there is a content that is quote unquote viral, it becomes quite topical about that's just about what everyone's going to talk about. So I think the attitude is there. Access to it is limited infrastructurally and cost-wise, but there is no doubt that it's a part of our present and that it will definitely be our future.
Well, for me, because I operate in the sports space, the digital era has actually shown up sports to be very disruptive. Right now, sports is the most disruptive sector of the economy globally. The way we consume sport now is so different from the way we started that you wake up every morning and there's an innovation. And what I find in Nigeria is that we're not keeping pace with what is happening. We're not keeping pace in how developments happening elsewhere are going to affect us. We're not keeping pace because we're not even developing our own local content to be consumed on digital platforms. So we're years behind. Elizabeth was correct, we're going to be giving examples from
Norway.
No, not Norway now, but I'll try to be closer to places we recognize. So last year, something happened in December that not a lot of people took note of. On 26th of December, Boxing Day matches of EPL in England were shown on a digital platform, on the Amazon platform. It looked quite innocuous, but it was a major development because it was a trial. And so they paid 90 million or thereabouts for 3 years for the right to show some selection of matches in England. But what happened was that my friend in Owerri watched that match on his phone. He hooked it up to his TV. Now, the EPL is trying out something, and it works. In the next 2 years, they're not even waiting. They saw it work. In the next 2 years, they're going to have what they call Premflix, their own channel. They're not going to be watching EPL on DSC. They're not watching here. You pay the equivalent of about £10 a month. If you pay for 1 year, it's about £10 a month. And you watch whatever you want to come on the content, matches, archives. They're carrying how many 20-something thousand hours of archives and putting their whole library, and you access it for £10. Why is this significant? Because right now the Premier League has 700 million followers globally. So let's assume 500 of those. We all have to watch this thing. If I can't see it on DSTV, I will look for it. So 700 million of us paying £10. 7 billion pounds. Let's put it in context. The whole global rights, non-Europe rights for Premier League is 9 billion pounds for 3 years. And they get 7 billion in a month. Do they need you? So in a year, they're going to get at least 84 billion. That money is ridiculous. So what's going to happen? 60% of the income from global rights are paid to the clubs now. That's why the clubs are awash with cash. They can pay anything for anybody. So they're just going to create their own little enclave. And your Minister of Information is saying he wants to break exclusivity of DSTV. There'll be no DSTV in 2 years. So that's why I say we're not prepared for the way the digital era is affecting our sport. Niche sports globally, they are all creating little communities and pushing their sport to them. So water skiing has its own platform. Hockey has its own platform. This morning, the Commonwealth Games Federation announced that archery and something of the 2022 Commonwealth Games will be played in India. It will be easy to play it in India. They will broadcast on digital platforms. So it makes it easy for you to now have co-hosting on different continents. Birmingham is hosting the Commonwealth Games, but archery is taking place in India, in Asia. They get the audience, they get everything. And we are not ready. We don't even have a digital policy for content. So,
okay. I'm even shocked. Okay, so my next question was actually how do you think, so let's now go to Nigeria.
yeah.
What should we do?
What we need to do is what we're trying to do at our level. I'm very glad to see other members of our thematic group who have been slaving away for 4 years on this. Some of us have slaved away for 10 years, but there are those who joined the train 4 years ago. What we need to do is first and foremost to sit down and examine, which is what we've done, examine where we are, determine where we ought to be, and then work backwards. So we've determined where we ought to be. We're working backwards now. And we're saying first we get a digital policy in place, which means you've got to work with the Ministry of Information and Culture. And you know, when we talk government like this, once upon a time in my other life, I used to say that government should hands off on sports. In my new life, the government is welcome. Because we can't make the policies without them. The key thing is to identify what government's role is and place and ask government to please just occupy that space. And then you tell the private sector, this is your role, and you occupy this space. So we need a policy. We need a policy that ties sport with digital era initiatives benefits. For that to happen, the Ministry of Sports must work with the Ministry of Information and Culture, and also work with the Ministry of Communication and Digital, what do they call it? It's a digital economy. So you see, you begin to see that there's synergy. And then even when you get that to happen, you need money, you need funding. And when I say money, it's not Dele, please now, do you have 10 naira there? Is a humongous amount, a quantum of investment to transform the way we develop content and the way we broadcast content. So you now have to go and talk to Ministry of Industries, Trade and Investment, and talk to Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, because sports budgeting is 4-year, 5-year cycle. Ministry budgeting is 12 months. So there must be a way to harmonize. When you finish that, you now have to come back to the Ministry of Sports and say, who are the beneficiaries, who are the people who are going to create content? At what level? Is it at community level, or at professional athlete level, or are just so you now need to have a conversation, bring everybody into the room and come up with a vibrant national sports industry policy that reflects the thinking of all the stakeholders, working in a particular direction, getting the quantum of investment you need, backed by, when you first getting all the incentives you need, then getting the investment you need, putting into infrastructure development. That policy will back it, and then you now have your industry that's operating in the digital era. I don't know if
Okay, even like now you've taken us to the top national level.
Yes.
So majority of us in this room are more like content developers, event organizers, and all. So I'm going to throw this at Mr. Dele. What advice do you have for us to now? I know this is on the national level, but we have to plug in one way or the other at our level. So first things first, as a sports business, we need to understand, we need to be digitally transformed, we need to be involved. So what do you advise us to get to this level?
I think it's first, stemming from what Nkechi just shared, I think it's first to recognize what the gap is. And again, because I'm part of the journey, and we at the time also felt government was too far from us, so I understand where you're coming from. But I think the more we try to do it as individuals, the bottleneck was always the fact that the policies were not in place that will actually help bring you from where you were to where you want to go. So it's quite vital what you said about this identification and all of that. We will still need to build from the bottom up, but here's the fundamental shift we're trying to bring to the economy, if you like. Sports in Nigeria is participation based, school sports, community sports, competition among, all of that. Now you don't have that built on layers to get to anything national. What you instead have is a disconnection between what all of those things are and what you see on the national level. What happens is talent driven. They go after a talent, and under 17, and under whatever, plays for a national team, and then it's done. So now you've broken up the business ecosystem that way. Because where sports has worked as a business is because it's a well-fit ecosystem. Talents are the talents. The talents participate in activities that generate content. Content goes on to media. Media funds the ability to develop infrastructure and all of that. So if you don't recognize the ecosystem and how the dots connect, what we will all be doing is, I want content. I want very good content to put on a digital platform. Where is this content? Well, there isn't a natural layer of how it goes. So in trying to now bring government policy into it, we realize that we need to shift sports from this participation layer to a lifestyle thing. If I give the example of music, you don't have to be told to download a song. The reason you would download a song or be a part of it is your lifestyle. You like the song, and you do that. But music is a business. So the song you're downloading, there's someone who's predetermined at what cost it will be on Apple or on whatever. And that's the missing layer. With sports, we're looking for the song without the business pipeline that helps. That's what's missing. So we wonder, at this level, call it like the micro level of the ecosystem, how are we not able to get the right kind of content to share? And the advice I have is, if you were to change that mindset to lifestyle, and we get away from I'm going to go cover sports from a school competition or whatever, but more from a health, natural. So you actually could help grow it as an activity where the business would work. People sell apparel, the business will work, and then content will naturally layer from that. It's also important to think that from a media point of view, that where you have aggregation, where you have a community, money follows. So at the base level of sports participation and everything, even if we take it from where we are, if you take the sports clubs, the 3SC, the Rangers, the ones that have become brands, ask yourself how they manage the community. Because those are communities that go there. Some of these guys have 20,000 people, 30,000 people that take their matches every week. What happens when they're done at the stadium?
Yeah.
What's the media dissemination that brings them back to the stadium for the next thing? And how the fans who follow them, what's the base of engagement? You find it's not there. And for me, it's a natural place to start. If we're not just about the tournaments, you see the shift, that it's not about there's a table tennis and I'll cover it, there's a swimming competition I'll cover it. If you unpack that to recognize the communities that follow these individuals or the sports or whatever it is, you'll find there is actually content they themselves will want to be a part of, and then you can engage them. So there is that shift first in connecting the dots, realizing our problem is we're not layered properly, and be interested in getting to the layer. So if when that happens, we still have that responsibility to understand community management, and that digital lifestyle lends itself to that. You'll find if there is a long form content on Instagram, you probably wouldn't see it. It's bite size, it's a minute, it's a minute, 5 seconds, it even goes like way too much and all of that. So that kind of a platform has a type of content that fits. So you find the comedy skits somehow just as a hit because it suits that type of environment. Your mobile phone, you're scrolling down, you don't want to hold down there for 1 hour. So Shaggy does something for 1 minute and then you laugh and then you scroll onto the next one because there's a natural fit there. So if you want to then be a part of that digital era, then you find that by not being tournament, long form content led by, instead of packing it to it's a community. And then there is the type of content that they actually, and you make it more bite-sized, you find it's a natural fit.
Yeah, let me also add to that. Dele is correct that we think in terms of competition, because that's the mindset in this country. Inter-house sports and open table tennis. We don't think in terms of the people who play the sport, or even the people who play sport who are never going to go to one Olympic, Commonwealth, anything. There are 97 or 98% of the population. And that is the business. So it is not the Olympics, no matter how you look at it. It is not the Olympics. The Olympics is the zenith of the career of the sportsman. But really, what's the value of an Olympic medal? Every time I ask somebody what is the value of an Olympic medal, no one has been able to answer that question. The only value is to the person that won the medal. It's not a value in his community. But look at us here, we're a community. Somebody took the content from here and broke it down into 1 minute and then distributed it all over. People who have an interest in the business of sports will download it. So it's time for us to start thinking in terms of the community. Your fan engagement, that is really the place. It's not your active life, no, except your fan engagement is the lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's the person who is doing sport as a lifestyle choice. So will spend anything to follow his passion, his lifestyle. So at this level, what we'll be thinking is anybody operating at this level needs to start thinking about building communities. One of the best examples is Dambe. It's a local sport. The guys just started it, but they got fans. And today I hear he has 100,000 followers. Someone is going to look for him very soon because of adverts.
Yes.
And before Google That's how we'll sit here. Google or any of these people will look for this guy. And next thing, that community will be what? The second example I'm going to use, I joined, it's a club called, please find it, Van Dresser FC. Van Dresser plays in the Nationwide League. I met the owner. They are based in Odugbemi in Akwa Ibom. At the time I joined them in December, they were 11,000. They're 100,000 followers now. And the guy is creating bite-sized content, telling you about his players. I saw some of the videos on his players. I'm beginning to even know the players. He's between December and now, the 100,000. I was thanking people for reaching the 100. He told me in December he would be 1 million by December this year. He would be 1 million before June. So, but he's done the right things. They're playing friendlies in Port Harcourt now. He labeled it Garden City Tour. He said this is what's happening. And people in Lagos and others saying, please shift your base. Come on, we'll give you land to build a stadium here. He has remodeled the Odugbemi Stadium. He's done some, the music system, the speakers, the sound system in Odugbemi that he brought in. I had to ask myself, that is this a local club? That's I met him. I actually was his guest in for Christmas, so I had enough time to engage, and I heard his dreams and I heard his vision. He's going to show how club football should be run. He has built a community of 100,000. Before long, Google will look for him.
Thank you. Okay, so so can you just let us know what's currently being done in the Nigerian system to increase sports participation? Are there any public-private activities going on? What's currently happening?
Okay, you identified that 50% of participation, and when we say participation, whether you're a fan, it comes from the education sector. Let's first start. For you to pick up, for you to get into sport as a lifestyle choice, you must start at an age where it becomes a part of you. So, education has always contributed globally. Education is 50% of the number of people that play sport. So if you go to most countries, they have a school sports program. There is a policy to do school sports. There is no go about it. So if education contributes 50%, and we say we have, what, in the whole up to tertiary we have 42 million people in schools, that's a huge market for goods, for services, for content, for everything. So if we got every child playing sport once a week, you can imagine what can come from there. We are not even talking inter-house sports or anything. We're talking just playing every week. But participation, the content derivable from there, that's number one. That participation will be uploaded on some platform that enables people to know that child is doing this or that. Maybe not necessarily by name because of privacy issues, but schools would upload their information. Now we now know. So those are things we're looking at as part of the reform to first and foremost build the market by encouraging every child to play sport. That's one. Then encouraging people who are interested in content development and broadcast to build communities around that activity. That's the second. Then put money into facilities to ensure that the children are actually playing sport the right way. So facilities, next step. That's why I said it's incentives, investment, infrastructure. Infrastructure is both facilities for play and facilities for content development. And just think of any kind of infrastructure that could arise from getting 40 million children to play sport. So that's where we're focusing on. We believe that if you start from age 2, 3, in 10 years' time, you would actually have a steady market that is built on sports as a lifestyle choice that will now enable you to keep a sustainable development as far as content, as sports market is concerned.
I think one possible policy that could also impact that is digital terrestrial television.
Yeah.
That as DTT eventually settles down, there will be, what will happen is there will be so much inventory and very little good content. And then what you find, just like you had with when the private stations launched in the 90s, you then had the independent producers who came after that. But that was for production of series and all that, but that was all driving television at the time. But you find that the option with digital terrestrial television is going to find that television is going to become more thematic. It will be a music channel and a sports channel. You had that limitation with analog.
Basketball channel.
You had that limitation with analog. It was channel 12 or channel 10 or whatever, so it was that. But with digital, because of the spectrum of channels you could have, you're going to find that it's more thematic, and you're going to have football channels, and you're going to have. So out of that, I think is now perhaps the desire of government to be more deliberate about local content. We have the 60-40 thing which nobody really focuses on. But with time, I'm sure it's a policy that will be driven, and once we have the inventory to handle it, it will just be organic. It's demand and supply. When there is just that much inventory, one of the things that will naturally follow it will be, we have good content that can go in there, and sports has a role to play in that.
Let me break it down. We had a conversation last week, and somebody said, I don't know, you were at our session, yes.
Yeah.
And they said the best thing that can happen to us now is for the government to complete the digital switchover. If they complete it, let me tell you the implications. And then every state station now would have 36 channels. So multiply 36 by 37, that would be the number of channels. They will start looking for a cricket channel, a handball channel. Yes, because if I have 36 stations, what am I going to do from it? If Elizabeth and I can get 11 lizards and 11 frogs to take part in a football match and we video it,
It's content.
I'm sure we'll be able to sell it.
Yeah.
So that is very correct. It becomes a demand and supply issue. So they've only done 2 or 3 states, but honestly, if this government had to spend any money, let them spend it and finish the digital switchover. There will be no need. Stations will be running after you for content. So you will not need to pay anybody to put your content anywhere. What you'll be doing is putting it, and both of you will be sharing revenue, which is what happens everywhere in the world. So the short answer to your question is, let's get the digital switchover completed.
That's a big impact.
That's it. I always tell people there's always a trigger moment. You do one thing and so many things open. We triggered off with telecom. Telecom licensed 2001 licensed, and today everywhere we order food, we order cabs. The only thing we don't have to do here is to shower and get dressed.
Yes, it's true.
Yet.
Thank you so much. So we're going to switch to questions and answers, and we're kind of running out of time, so we're only going to take 2 questions. So please, let's keep questions really brief. Really brief. So one question, any question from this side?
Yes.
Sorry, let me pray. Okay. That's one question. Okay, then we thought, no lady.
I have a question.
Okay.
So 3 of them.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do 4, but let's keep it very brief. Now
So she has a
okay, so usually people tend to start to introduce themselves. Just go straight to the point.
Name and
I'll try my best.
Okay, please.
The question is
Your name, role, question.
Okay, so my name is Odugbemi. I'm the director of Africa USA College of Government. So we get kids from here to the US on scholarship.
Okay.
So put to the question is, you know, in the US specifically, when it comes to policy work, the NCAA, which is the governing body, had this rule for so many years that the players in college sports and schools cannot gain or make any financial, incentives in what they do. And Shaklin would say when he was in college, he would see people wearing his jersey, but doesn't have $20 to eat. And that's a policy thing. Now they're changing it. With your policy thing, are you guys looking into, because I know of HIFL, these Nuga games and things like that. How are you looking at that mistake? Because I call it a mistake that was done. Are you putting that into consideration with your policies, and how does that look right now?
It's not a mistake. I'm going to be very honest with you, it's not a mistake. The tendency for corrupt practices, even the NCA right now, with no, don't pay at least, is rife with corrupt practices. They fiddle with the books. We've seen people going to jail recently. I do not think you can be in school and be a pro. There's something that runs counter. If you want to be a pro, leave school. Kobe, God rest his soul, didn't bother to go to college. LeBron James didn't bother to go to college. His talent was that big. So he went straight. If you want to be a pro, be a pro. If you want to play in college so that you can go to school, do that. You get a scholarship, you get everything. I tell you what we want Nuga to do is to actually reform itself, such that we can enable our students to be able to play sports in school. But right now, when you say you have a competition, they say it's either you do your exam or. So we had a session with the education people last week, and those reforms, the Nuga people were in the room, and those reforms will happen. We're not promising heaven and earth, but if you don't have the people in the room with you, how are you even going to say? So they were in the room last week, and we're encouraged by their presence in the room. In the next 3 weeks, third week in March, we'll be at a policy dialogue where we hope to coalesce everything that's been going on for the past 5 months into a document that will now be given to a policy drafting committee to spend about 20 of them spend about a week to now hammer everything into place. God willing, we'll come up with something that at least 80% of the stakeholders will be happy, the remaining 20% will win. So it's not a mistake. I really think you can do both. That's my
This question is, okay, my name is Yomi Odugbemi. I'm VP Partnership for African Collegiate League, and I'm also the editor of Athletics Africa.
Okay.
So this question is for Ms. Okogun. This sport policy document, are you going to break it down into local languages like Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo when it's done, so that every stakeholder at the local level can actually have access?
Absolutely brilliant idea.
Because that's where everything's gone wrong for us.
Absolutely brilliant idea.
Also, I also like the fact that you're talking to people in Nuga, because that institution itself is an arcane institution.
Tell me about
people they have no clue about what sport is saying today. And like one of the things we're doing also in ACL is we're launching next year the first NCAA style African university system with smaller shape, with facility development, training. We're doing all that. So we're starting with 32 iconic universities in Africa, 2 in each country, to launch that. But the idea is to run as a test so that we can give the model to the rest of the continent that is possible in Africa. For you to be here, you school, you do sports, and you can make the Olympic team right for the University of Lagos.
Yeah.
You're earning the same money you earn if you're in the US.
Yeah.
We don't want people to take our athletes to the US for sale anymore.
Yeah.
We want everything to be here. Just like in the 70s, you can go to the university, you are in the Olympic team. I mean, NFL was in university, he was running in Sydney. I was in university, I was coming to run in Lagos. So the fact is, this can be done, and until we go back to that point, we will not find Nigerian athletes in the top rank anymore.
Yeah. Thank you. That's absolutely brilliant about the, yes, brilliant. We take that because we've taken note of the fact that whatever policy you develop here is implemented at state level, because sport is not on the exclusive list. So federal government really can't make any rules. It's at state level. So you're very correct. Local languages. Secondly, yes, look, it's good that Nuga is in. The reform in Nuga is the next. Look, we consider Nuga like a federation. So all the federations have been encouraged to reform themselves, because all our policies will be to waste if they don't reform themselves. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Amaka. I'm a sports lawyer, OAL, and I'm the founder of Lagos Tigers Football Club. So my question is directed at Mr. Dele, because you're a media person. And Madam Nkechi raised a very valid point about the 3 I's: incentives, infrastructure, and investment being the 3 key things to sport, increasing sports participation. So focusing now on finances, which is the lifeblood of anything. We all know that sports is extremely capital intensive. And I've heard that in Nigeria we have a very haphazard way of running sponsorships. I can't quite remember what the person said, but sponsorships in Nigeria, we haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg. What is it about sponsorships? Why are grassroots finding it so difficult to attract the right level of sponsorships? But then you hear of, not naming any names, certain tournaments attracting huge names, money being mismanaged and whatnot, and then the people that need it, and I'm speaking also as someone that runs a grassroots club who needs sponsorship. So you have something we need, and we can be your engine for, how do you say, corporate development responsibility. So how can we improve this?
It's a number of factors. I'm going to start with measurement.
Okay.
Because what get measured get done. So oftentimes with grassroots sports, you're not able to show that aggregation. Whereas a person X tells you, Access Bank Marathon, it would say the number of people who participated, who could, that it's a factor. It's a factor. 2 is that brands are no longer as brave as they used to be, because there is a pressure on, from 2008, procurement emphasized return on investment. So now you find brands like Coca-Cola and all of that were more like, so they didn't mind like the academies, and even if there is no return, and they would seem like they were seeding or investing and all of that. So that era is kind of ending. It's happened in the last 10, 12 years where the accountants were in charge. So there was always a safe bet. What's my return on investment? So if I have a sponsorship investment, I want to be sure I can get twofold all that. I will go back to measurement. You can prove it. So if we become more deliberate about data gathering on 2 sides. Firstly, on the participation side, but the second is also from the audience. So any property is the value of a property is what it delivers. So more than likely, when that audience is proven, it's always a no-brainer. So if you have Ironman in Nigeria, so the 3 sports, that they will participate in, you do grassroots thing, and you show some sort of like trajectory where sometimes when we do our business planning, we also try to make all the money in year 1. And you say that like, therefore the value of my property is $1 million, and the guy says, I'm risking $1 million. But if it starts with $10,000, and then the next one is 20, and there is some sort of gradation about it, I think it tends to work, because I kind of was fortunate to be there when they didn't lunch, for example, and those were the brave era because they were head on against other competitors, so they were so desperate. And then you find an MTN today with a Google Festival and all of those kind of things. So at that time, when they had to spread out, actually even the more rural it was, the more you could justify it, because it could show that's where your audience is. So it's an audience game. I don't think there are brands, maybe like a premium brand, a Mercedes could say if it's rural, I don't want to, also for positioning reasons, but for most brands, it's an audience game. And the more we have the metric the more brands follow the money. End of story. If you prove your audience, will tend to go there.
Thank you. So let's take the last two questions. Okay, nice. Okay, so what's your question?
Yeah, so
Your name, your role.
I don't work in the sports sector. I'm actually in the technology space, ICT development. I'm CEO of City Technologies. And my question is this. Now, you've talked about the infrastructure. Mr. Lee spoke on the levels that need to be addressed in order to get the sports team off the ground. She spoke on the participators, the people who do the money around, and then the fans. Yes. Now all that is connected and that is true, but I seem to look at it or see it more as a ring than a level, a building with levels. So everything affects the other thing.
Yeah.
So if it were as simple as we get the players to perform, so that we get the fans, so that we can get the money, and then we can get the infrastructure, I don't think it's that simple. I think for the players to be able to perform, in order to get the funds, they need certain basic infrastructure that is not there because the money is missing. And the money is not there because the funds are missing. The funds are not there because the players are missing.
So it's a chicken and an egg situation. Okay.
So
what's your question?
So my question is this. Usually to solve a chicken and egg scenario, what you do is to introduce a chaos factor. So something like a huge investment that suddenly breaks the cycle and starts and kicks off the fire. Right? Now, my suggestion is, what if we were to use a local source for that break factor, for that chaos factor?
Yeah.
So instead of waiting for large brands that are international to come and invest in infrastructure, why don't we motivate the local street corner entrepreneur to look into creating sort of basic infrastructure like shoes, like the canvas that we use for the sport, the equipment from a local standpoint, with local material. That will, I think, keep the ball rolling.
That's what, you're very correct. You're very correct. And it's when I get points of view like this, it makes me realize we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
See, because if you're doing the right thing, someone is going to see through what you're doing and come to where you want them to. Yes. So you're very correct. That's what's going to happen. So this whole scenario we painted, that first you've got to put the policy in place, is to enable this groundbreaking factor. If you don't put it in place, this groundbreaking factor will fail, because people have tried it in the past. So we don't want a situation where we fail. Because no matter if you call a local investor, you must protect his money.
Yes.
You must ensure he gets his money back. If you're not getting, even if it's not a commercial venture, because to kickstart what you want is not necessarily a commercial venture. It's an impact investment. Impact at grassroots level, which means communities have facilities to encourage people to come and play. I always use myself as an example. I've lost 3 friends from jogging on the road and knocked down their cars. If they had facilities in their communities that they could have gone to, maybe they would still have died, but not from somebody knocking them down.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you tell 40 million children to play sport every day, we have a school sports person here. We don't have that. But if you make that law and back it up by encouraging the development of community cluster facilities, common user shared facilities, your participation just. So yes, we have recognized that chaos factor, and we factored it into. That's why the likes of Dele, that are industry working group, they got their work cut out to find the money for that level of infrastructure. The good thing about anything, and a very wise person lady said it to me. She said, if your strategy is right, the money will find you. So you start off with your strategy and the money. The good thing about it is that once they get their strategy right, you'll be shocked at who's going to give them money. People who want to create jobs, who are not necessarily commercially minded, or who want the facilities to pay for themselves, will give them money. People who want to make an impact in the community, so in terms of community development, who want to see somebody that will say, I want more girls. They say, okay, SDG 5 says more gender, we're focused on gender equality and empowerment. I want to see more girls stay in school. So he will bring money for you to develop sports programs to see girls. He's not bringing money to make naira and kobo. His own ROI is that you've gone from 10 girls to 500 girls playing. So he will take it that he has succeeded. So he'll give you money. And then he'll also give you money to put into ancillary sectors. So when you build the facility, we've seen facilities as the trigger. That facilities will be the main trigger to get us off on the ground. So you're very fine. That's why we all laugh. That obviously we're on the right path. That you got to where we wanted everyone to get to. So well done.
That's why everyone is 5 o'clock on the dot.
And then